Hello guys, how are you? Hope you're studying nicely and you are happy and you're staying home and safe. So today we are continuing with the chapter of endocrine system. In the last video of endocrine system, what had we done? We had done just an overview of the chapter. We had seen each of the glands and we had just seen few little things about each of the glands so that we know what is going to come in the chapter and we know something about the chapter, which is really very important. So guys, take out your copy, take out your pen and your pencil and everything. Sit in a quiet place where you want to study and just look at the video and make notes. It's very important to make notes when you are studying zoology or botany, or for that matter any other subject, right? So now we'll start this. That's a very nice, I thought that I'll share this with you. And let us see what, when you will study about the different hormones, you will know what this GIF is actually saying. Now let us see what are we going to study today. What is the lecture plan for today? So basically today we are going to study about hypothalamus, pituitary gland, their structures, the anterior and the posterior pituitary glands, what are the hormones they secrete, what is the stimulus required to secrete these hormones, how are these hormones controlled, what are the functions of these hormones, and what are the repercussions of low level and high level of these hormones. Repercussions means what will happen if there is a low level and what will happen if there is a high level of these hormones. And then since there is a lot to remember in this, so I have made some important points of this lecture as notes, which you can study, or you can even take a printout and put it in your book from which you are studying, or from the chapter where you're planning to do the questions. So it is like a handy note for you, or if you want, you can write it also. That depends on you. So let's start the chapter for today and see what is coming. So first of all, as I said, that we are going to study about hypothalamus and pituitary gland. So let us first know about the location. Whenever we study any organ, we always see what is the location, because without that we won't be able to actually understand it. So this is the hypothalamus. You can see this is the infundibulum, and this is the anterior pituitary gland, and this is the posterior pituitary gland. So basically hypothalamus is where hypothalamus is forming what? It is forming the basal part of diencephalon, right? And the pituitary gland is attached, is hanging from the hypothalamus through infundibulum, right? Understood this with the diagram? It's very clear that pituitary gland is hanging from the infundibulum, right? The stalk-like structure, and forms the basal part of diencephalon. Hypothalamus forms the basal part of diencephalon. As you can see that the anterior pituitary gland is green in color and the posterior pituitary gland is purple in color. Why? Because the anterior and the posterior pituitary gland have a major difference. The posterior pituitary gland, it is made up of nerve cells. We'll do the structure, then you will understand this more. So the posterior pituitary gland is made up of nerve cells, which are known as pituicytes, and therefore because of this reason it has another name which is known as neurohypophysis. Hypophysis is another name for pituitary gland, and basically it does not synthesize any hormones. It is basically storing the hormones as vesicles, whereas the anterior pituitary gland is not made up of nerve cells, and it has what? It has a portal system. So you can say it has a hypophyseal portal system. So basically there is what? Whenever we use the word portal system, it has a bed of capillaries, right? So it has a bed of capillaries. So basically what I'm trying to say when I'm saying a bed of capillaries, there are some capillaries which are connected together and they're opening somewhere. So they basically, what is happening? This is acting like what? This is acting like a portal system, right? So this is acting like a portal system. Hypo means hypothalamus, physeal means pituitary, so hypophyseal portal system. So basically what? A bed of capillaries that is connecting what? That is connecting the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland, right? So now we have understood the location of the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Now let us move forward and study about all of the hormones that they are secreting. And then you should know about the hormones that they're secreting. Then we will study each and every hormone in detail. So let us write anterior pituitary gland, right? And see how many hormones it is secreting, right? So anterior pituitary gland is, for your information, it is also known as adeno, hypophysis, and it is secreting what? It is secreting growth hormone. So I'm writing the short form, and from here on, I will be using the short form. So please remember these short forms. And thyroid stimulating hormone. So these are secreted by what? These are being secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. Thyroid stimulating hormone, and it is also known as what? It is also known as thyrotropin. We'll see the cells that they're releasing. We'll see what are the various, how are they being controlled, everything. You know, whatever is needed, we will do it. Then the luteinizing hormone and prolactin and adenocorticotropin hormone. So basically it is adenocorticotropin hormone, ACTH, and melanocyte stimulating hormone, right? And we'll see each of these in detail. MSH, also known as intermediates, right? So we're going to study about these hormones. Now let us see what are the hormones secreted by posterior pituitary gland. So posterior pituitary gland, what are the hormones? One is anti-ADH, right? It is commonly known as anti-diuretic hormone, is known as ADH, or the other one is what? The other one is oxytocin, right? So please remember this hormone. This is important. You should know it, right? So let us again see what are the hormones that we are going to study. Growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, prolactin, adenocorticotropin hormone, melanocyte stimulating hormone, and antidiuretic hormone, and oxytocin. So now let us start. So now if we try to draw the structure where there was hypothalamus, and then we actually inflate the structure. So this is something that you should know how to draw, right? And there is this pituitary gland hanging. So basically this is the cerebrum, and this is the hypothalamus structure, and from here it is the thalamus, and then this is the epithalamus and cerebrum and pons and spinal cord. So basically we don't have to see all these structures. What we have to focus, on this box that I have drawn. So let's enlarge it and see what is actually happening in this. So this is the hypothalamus that I am making with the infundibulum, and from it what is hanging? There is hanging a posterior pituitary gland and an anterior pituitary gland. So this is what, if we say this is the hypothalamus that we have made, right? And this is the infundibulum, and through infundibulum what is hanging? Pituitary gland is hanging, which has two parts, the posterior part and one is the anterior part, right? So posterior part is secreting two hormones. Now there are clusters of nuclei. What are clusters of nuclei? These are the cell bodies, multiple cell bodies in hypothalamus. So these cell bodies, suppose these are cell bodies, right? Or you can draw as multiple cell bodies, right? So multiple cell bodies are present over here, and they all have some different names which we are going to see. So there are multiple cell bodies, and through it this axon terminal is coming, right? And these are multiple, so there are multiple axon terminals, and there are vesicles that are present here, right? What are present over here? There are vesicles are present over here, through which the hormones will come out, right? And whenever there are a bundle of, what are these? These are multiple cell bodies, right? We'll write their names also. And whenever there are multiple axons, these multiple axons, what do they make? They make a tract. So what is this? This is a tract. What is a tract? Tract is a bundle of multiple axons. So what is this? This is a tract. And what is tract? Tract is a bundle of multiple axons, right? So whatever we draw, you should be clear about it. And what are these that I have drawn? These are nuclei. And what are nuclei? They are multiple cell bodies. And this nuclei is known as supraoptic nuclei, right? I've made with same color. You can make with different colors also, just to show that they are different. So, right? And this is what? This is paraventricular nuclei. We'll see what are they doing and what kind of hormones they are secreting. And this is preoptic nuclei, and this is arcuate nuclei, right? And we'll draw the axons. Why I'm drawing these axon short, I will shortly tell you. And here, as I had told you, in the anterior there is what? There is a bed of capillary. What is there present? There is a bed of capillary present. So we see this bed of capillary through this portal system, right? So this is a bed of capillary that I am showing in the anterior and not in the posterior. And that's why the posterior is also known as neurophysis. The posterior one is also known as neurophysis. Why? Now you can see, because it has a bundle of axons, and anterior one is also known as adenohypophysis, right? This much is clear to you. Now let us see what this supraoptic nuclei, paraventricular nuclei, preoptic nuclei, and arcuate nuclei are actually doing. So what happens? So let us take a different color. So this supraoptic nuclei and paraventricular nuclei of the posterior pituitary gland secretes two hormones, right? We know what are these two hormones? ADH, I'm not going to tell you the name. Go back and see, you were not concentrating and that's why now you don't remember. ADH and oxytocin. ADH, चलो बता देते हैं. Anti-diuretic hormone, right? One thing here I like to tell you that this tract is also known as hypophyseal tract. You will see this in your book written as hypophyseal tract, and then you will think, what is this? Ma'am has not told me about it. So this, let us write a line about hypophyseal tract. As you know that hypo means hypothalamus and physeal is connected to pituitary gland. So it is what? The cells, the cell bodies of neurosecretory cells are in the paraventricular and what? Supraoptic nuclei. So the cell bodies of neurosecretory cells are in the paraventricular and supraoptic nuclei of hypothalamus, and their axons form this hypophyseal tract. So now you know what is a tract and what is a hypophyseal tract. Okay, so now let us see something about ADH and oxytocin, right? ADH is also called as antidiuretic hormone is the full form, or vasopressin. One more name is vasopressin. Now we said that we'll see that what is the stimulus, what is the stimuli due to which the body secretes this antidiuretic hormone, right? So the first stimulus is low blood volume. And what is low blood volume? We all know that volume is a direct indicator of pressure, and the volume directly correlates with what? The word volume you can correlate with easily with pressure, that is blood pressure. Low blood pressure. So basically, if there is a low blood pressure, it is a stimulus for the body to secrete this antidiuretic hormone. And remember, the supraoptic nuclei and paraventricular nuclei, when they secrete it, if this is these are supraoptic and paraventricular, they secrete, and through these axon terminals they are sent together, and here they are stored as vesicles. What are they do? Here they are stored as vesicles, and when the body needs it, they are sent out through exocytosis. So basically what is happening, these are the nerve cell bodies, this is the hypophyseal tract. Remember, this is the hypophyseal tract, and through this hypophyseal tract this hormone will travel down and will be stored here as vesicles. It will be stored here as vesicles. Okay, so remember this point. Now let us see, we have seen about antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. We were seeing about the stimuli. So the first stimuli is low blood pressure. The second is plasma osmolality. What is plasma osmolality? Osmolality. So basically high plasma osmolality. Let us see what do we mean by this word and how it is acting as a stimulus. So basically what happens, osmolality, this word means concentration of solutes and water in the plasma. We have already learned body circulation, so we now know what is plasma. So concentration of solutes and water in plasma. Now let us see few things. If we say that the plasma osmolality is high, What do we mean by this when we say that it is high? It means that the level of water is low, means the level of solutes is high, right? And if we say that the plasma osmolality is low, what do we mean by this? It means that there is a lot of water and there is less of solutes. There is less of solutes, right? And there, I'll tell you one more thing, one more stimulus, and the third stimulus that we are going to do is pain. So antidiuretic hormone is also secreted during the time of stress or pain. So now let us see a few more things. I write a sentence and you have to tell me why. People consuming alcohol have frequent urination. Have frequent urination. Why? Right? And you have to answer why I am saying so. And the hint that I'm giving you here is that alcohol acts as an inhibitor of ADH. And the second hint that I'm giving you is that antidiuretic hormone helps in the conservation of body water. So if I give you a question, people consuming alcohol have frequent urination. Why? And the hint that I've given you that alcohol is the inhibitor of ADH and ADH is helping in conservation of body water. So what will be the answer? Think for a minute and tell me. Right? So antidiuretic hormone is acting as conservation of body water. अब जब ये inhibit हो गया तो क्या होगा? जब ये inhibit हो गया तो it is helping in the conservation of body water. First point. अब ये inhibit हो गया because हमने alcohol ले ली तो ये क्या हो गया? ADH inhibit हो गया, इसका production inhibit हो गया. So it will cause the kidneys to return. ध्यान से देखो मैं क्या लिख रही हूँ, right? See carefully what I'm writing. More water to the blood by reabsorption of water and ions, right? By reabsorption of water and ions by distal tube. Thereby क्या होगा? Decreasing the urine volume water and the concentration of urine, right? Thereby decreasing the volume water and the concentration of urine. Okay, now we have seen about ADH. Now let us see something about oxytocin. Oxytocin is secreted by where? Anterior or posterior? It is secreted by the posterior pituitary gland. You will get all the notes very nicely. Each and everything you will get in today's lecture as notes. So posterior कहाँ से secrete हुआ? Posterior pituitary gland से. ये करता क्या है? ये जो है बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट काम करता है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ड्यूरिंग डिलीवरी जब सर्विक्स का कॉन्ट्रैक्शन स्टार्ट होता है तो दिस ऑक्सीटोसिन इज रिलीज्ड. बर्थिंग हार्मोन भी कहते हैं इसे. मिल्क इजैकुलेशन, मिल्क इजेक्शन and male ejaculation. It helps in these three majorly things, right? Delivery, milk ejection and ejaculation. Now let us come to the hormones secreted by where? Hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary gland, right? फटाफट याद करके बताओ आपने कौन से ऊपर हार्मोन्स याद करे जो एंटीरियर पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड में सिक्रीट होता है. तो बेसिकली हमने कहा था कि वी विल आल्सो सी द सेल्स. तो व्हाट आर द 5 टाइप्स ऑफ सेल्स that secretes these hormones? So these 5 types of cells are somatotrophs. These cells are secreting the hormones by the anterior pituitary gland. Thyrotrophs, gonadotrophs, lactotrophs, and corticotrophs. Basically what happens that यहाँ पे हाइपोफाइसियल सिस्टम होता है और एक सेल होती है. तो यहाँ पे जो न्यूक्लियाई है वो कुछ सिक्रीट करेगा, राइट. फिर वो हाइपोफाइसियल सिस्टम के थ्रू जाएगा और यहाँ पे जो ये सेल्स हैं, these specific cells, ये इनको सिक्रीट करेंगी, राइट, बिकॉज they are doing what? They are just delivering, right? So now let us see what are these cells secreting and what are the hormones doing in our body. So the first hormone that we are going to do is a very important hormone that we are going to do, and this is also known as somatotropin. And as you can see, somatotropin, so it is secreted by somatotrophs, and this is what I am talking about. I am talking about the growth hormone, right? And it is secreted by somatotrophs, and basically there is growth hormone releasing factor which is also known as somatokinin. So क्या है ये? This is what is stimulating the secretion of, this is growth hormone releasing hormone. So basically this is stimulating the somatotrophs to release the growth hormone, right? So it is stimulating the somatotrophs to secrete growth hormone. And what is growth hormone doing? It is, as the name is saying, it is involved in the growth of the body. It is involved in what? It is involved in the growth of the body, and it is also very important. One of the very important use of this hormone is what? That it stimulates what? It stimulates various body tissues like liver, muscle, cartilage, bone, and various other tissues to synthesize and secrete what? To secrete insulin growth factors. What are these? These are insulin growth factors, right? Insulin growth factors. तो अब हम देखते हैं what is this insulin growth factor doing. Suppose the blood glucose level कम हो गया. So there is low blood glucose level. And what is known as low blood glucose level? It is known as hypoglycemia, right? In the previous video also we have done this example. Suppose there is low blood glucose level. तो क्या करेगा ये? It will stimulate the growth hormone releasing hormone in the anterior pituitary gland to do what? To secrete what? To secrete growth hormone. ग्रोथ हार्मोन क्या करेगा? IGF बनाएगा, राइट? ग्रोथ हार्मोन क्या करेगा? IGF बनाएगा, और IGF क्या करेगा? It will help in the breakdown of glycogen to glucose. कहाँ पे? In the liver, right? और blood glucose level क्या होगा? Normal हो जाएगा, या it will become high, or it will become actually normal. Now it will become normal, right? If the blood glucose continues to increase, hyperglycemia will occur, and this hyperglycemia will inhibit the release of, see, apne aap, there is a negative feedback mechanism. So there is a negative feedback mechanism. What happens? If the blood glucose level, agar ye blood glucose level हाई 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 होता जाएगा, तो what will happen? It will result in hyperglycemia, and this hyperglycemia will do what? It will inhibit what? It will inhibit growth hormone releasing hormone, इसलिए ग्रोथ हार्मोन नहीं होगा, वो आईजीएफ नहीं बनाएगा और ग्लाइकोजन से ग्लूकोज नहीं बनेगी, तो मेंटेन रहेगा, right? Now let us see what happens if there is a hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia, you know now what is hyperglycemia? High blood glucose level. What will it do? It will stimulate growth hormone, inhibitory hormone, right? And it inhibits the secretion of what? It inhibits the secretion of growth hormone, and a low level of growth hormone और IGF से क्या होगा? The rate of glycogen breakdown in liver and glucose enters the more blood slowly. अब क्या हो रहा है? ग्लाइकोजन से ग्लूकोज बन रहा था, अब इसमें क्या हो रहा है? जो ये ग्लाइकोजन का ब्रेकडाउन है, ग्लाइकोजन का जो ब्रेकडाउन है, what will happen? It will become slow, right? It will become slow. उससे क्या होगा? Blood glucose level will become normal. What will happen? The blood glucose level will become normal, right? So again, अगर ये कम होता गया हो गया तो बहुत ज्यादा हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया हो जाएगा, और हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया अगर ये गिरता गया ब्लड ग्लूकोज लेवल, तो क्या हो जाएगा? हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया हो जाएगा, और हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया व्हाट विल इट डू? इट विल inhibit what? It will inhibit growth hormone inhibiting hormone, और फिर बाकी वो साइकिल फिर से शुरू हो जाएगी, right? Now let us do the other one, right? The other hormone. The other hormone is what? Now the other hormone is thyroid stimulating hormone, also known as thyrotropin, and it is secreted by what cells? Thyrotropes, right? And it is secreted by thyrotropes. कौन इनको stimulate करता है? Thyroid releasing hormone stimulates the production of thyroid stimulating hormone. This is what? This is thyrotropin releasing hormone. And what is TSH? TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone, right? So TRH is stimulating the TSH. Okay, now what will it do? ये दो, it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of two hormones, T3 and T4. T3 is what? T3 is triiodothyronine, and what is T4? Thyroxine, right? And both are produced where? Both are produced in the thyroid gland, right? So basically it is stimulating, and it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of what? Of thyroid hormones by the thyroid gland, right? By thyroid gland. तो क्या किया thyroid stimulating hormone ने? एक तो first of all thyrotropes, these are secreted by specialized cells known as thyrotropes. Anterior pituitary gland की बात हो रही है, and they are synthesizing and secreting T3 and T4. T3 is triiodothyronine and T4 is thyroxine. Both are produced in the thyroid gland. You have to learn it. Now let us see. You can once see for more, right? Copied, made. Okay, let's move forward. This is a very important chapter. That's why I'm going very, very, very slow. So now there is what? There is gonadotrophin releasing hormone. So now let us study about gonadotrophin gonadotropin releasing hormone. What will the gonadotropin releasing hormone do? It will be secreted in the hypophyseal portal system, through which it will travel to which specialized cell? It will travel to the gonadotrophs, and they will make what? They will make two things: follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, right? So let us see what will be the follicle stimulating hormone will do. Follicle stimulating hormone females में क्या करेगा और males में क्या करेगा? So first let's see what it will do in the female. It will initiate follicle stimulating. It will initiate development of oocytes, right? Right, and it induces the secretion of estrogen. ठीक है? And in male, it will do what? It will stimulate the testes to produce what? To produce sperm, right? And what will the luteinizing hormone do? What will the luteinizing hormone do in females? Now again, let us see in the females and in the males. So हमने FSH देखा, follicle stimulating hormone females में करेगा. It will initiate the development of oocytes, and it will also induce, let me write the whole thing, and it will also induce ovarian secretion of estrogen. ठीक है? oocytes और estrogen आपको याद रखना है. It means it stimulates the testes to produce sperm. Okay? चलो अब हम देखते हैं luteinizing hormone के बारे में. So what is the luteinizing hormone doing in female? It will stimulate the secretion of what? The female hormones, that is the estrogen and progesterone, and it also triggers the ovulation. Okay, and what is it doing in the male? What is the male hormone? Testosterone. So it is stimulating testes to produce testosterone. Chalo, ye ho gaya. Now let us see some. You can see this gonadotropin releasing hormone. You will get the notes below. I'll give you all the notes at the end. First, understand. Now let us see prolactin. Right? Now let us see prolactin, or it is also known as what? It is also known as luteotropic hormone, right? Luteotropic hormone. It will be secreted by what? It will be secreted by lactotrophs, right? Lactotrophs. What will happen? It will travel to hypophyseal system, and then there will be specific cells known as lactotrophs that will be secreting lactotrophs, right? So the function of prolactin males में इतना पता नहीं है, but इसका hyper secretion. So what is the function actually? So let us write males. So it is still unknown, but इसका जो hyper secretion है, if there is lot of prolactin secretion in males, what will happen? There will be erectile dysfunction, right? And similarly, if we see what will happen in the female hypersecretion, if there is a hypersecretion in female. So you have to learn two words over here, that is galactorrhea and amenorrhea, right? You have to learn these two. What is galactorrhea? It is just inappropriate lactation, unwanted milk production, and amenorrhea is absence of menstrual cycle, right? So this is what is happening with the prolactin, right? So prolactin is secreted by lactotrophs, where they are this. You can note one thing more, that growth hormone releasing hormone and this prolactin is secreted by the arcuate nucleus, and we will see what is CRH and not plus, CRH and TRH, and growth hormone, releasing hormone, they are secreted by what? They are secreted by paraventricular nucleus. You can see if you have forgotten what is paraventricular and arcuate nucleus, right? Now, let us see other hormones. So the next hormone that we are going to do is very important. It is known as ACTH or adrenocorticotropin hormone, also known as corticotropin, right? चलो let us see कौन सी सेल सिक्रीट करेंगी? Corticotrophs, right? Corticotrophs. And what will happen? This corticotropin releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone क्या करेगा? It will be secreted where? I just told you it will be secreted where? It will be secreted in the paraventricular nucleus, and through it, it will travel down to the hypophyseal portal system. And then what will happen? It will stimulate the secretion of ACTH. You understood? We had drawn this hypothalamus with the infundibulum and these two. So here we had drawn this paraventricular nucleus, and it will travel through this is the axon, and here they were the hypophyseal portal system, and it will travel through here, and what will happen? This corticotropin releasing hormone CRH will travel through this, and it will stimulate the production of ACTH. And now what ACTH will do? ACTH, it will, first of all, it will stimulate the secretion of cortisol by adrenal cortex, right? It will stimulate the secretion of cortisol by adrenal cortex, right? And what else can it do? Let me just think. It will do the cortisol. There's one more thing I want to tell you over here. Yes, the other thing that I want to tell you is that sometimes stress also induces it. If you are stressed, then also this adrenocorticotropin hormone will be released. It's a bit boring, this chapter, I think, but it's very important. Now let us see the other hormone, that is melanocyte. Let me use a different color. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, right? Melanocyte stimulating hormone. So it will be produced where? Melanocyte stimulating hormone. The cells that are producing it is corticotrophs again, and it will, what will happen? That it will be made in the paraventricular nucleus, and from there it will travel through the hypophyseal portal system, and then it will go to the corticotrophs, and basically what will they do? They will secrete this melanocyte stimulating hormone, corticotrophs, or they will secrete this MSH, right? Or basically alpha MSH. So you can one more, right? Corticotropin releasing hormone, MSH, and ACTH. They travel via hypophyseal portal system. So now let us see what is this doing. So it increases melanocyte stimulating hormone. So it increases what? It increases skin pigmentation, right? By doing what? By stimulating मतलब स्किन डार्क हो जाती है, मेलेनिन ज्यादा हो जाता है. By stimulating the dispersion of, but you should know how to answer in a formal language, dispersion of melanin granules, right? So basically क्या होता है, melanin ज़्यादा हो जाता है, cells containing melanin, dispersion of melanin granules in melanocytes. So melanocytes क्या होती है, cells इसमें melanin present होता है. Increase in skin pigmentation का मतलब क्या हुआ, basically skin dark हो जाती है और UV protection से कम हो जाती है. So this is all about anterior and pituitary hormones. Let us see where are the notes that I was telling you. Yes, this is the notes that I was telling you. So these are the notes that you can see. I have written for each and every hormone, that what is antidiuretic hormone, that there's special nerve cells, they're made by special nerve cells, and right, the nerve cells transport the hormone nerve fibers के through नीचे जाता है, and it is released into the bloodstream. And what is the most important role? Its most important role is to conserve the fluid volume of the body, and it does this by allowing water in the urine to be taken back into the body. जो urine का water है, it will be taken back into the body in the specific area of the kidney. So thus more water returns to the bloodstream, urine concentration rises, and water loss is reduced. Now let us see what will happen if there is a high concentration of antidiuretic hormone. It will cause the blood vessels to constrict. High हो गया, antidiuretic hormone क्या हो गया, high हो गया, तो क्या हो गया, जो blood vessels हैं वो constrict हो गई. Constrict हो गई तो क्या हो गया, blood pressure high हो गया, right? So a deficiency of body fluid can only be finally restored by increasing water intake, right? Now, how is antidiuretic hormone controlled? So we have already done this, low blood pressure, and then you can just read about it. Alcohol, we have done about alcohol, thirst, nausea, vomiting, pain, right? So we have done all these things. Now you can see what happens if I have too much of antidiuretic hormone. What will happen? जो kidneys हैं, that will retain water in the body, and with this condition क्या होगा, water retention dilutes the blood, giving a characteristic low salt concentration, right? Now let us see something about too little. So if too little होगा तो क्या होगा, they will excrete too much water, urine volume will increase, leading to dehydration and a fall in blood pressure. अभी हमने देखा, इसलिए मैंने बताया था क्या होता है dehydration से, how it is reducing the blood pressure. चलो, now let us see. You can read about this. Diabetes insipidus is a condition where you either make too little antidiuretic hormone or where the kidneys are insensitive to it, right? Now let us see what is oxytocin doing. So we are doing which hormones? We are doing about the posterior pituitary gland. Oxytocin क्या करता है? Posterior pituitary gland secrete कर रहा है. Main actions क्या है? I said during childbirth we did it. Uterine muscles को contract करने में help कर रहा है. So it is stimulating the uterine muscles to contract, right? Which also increases the production of prostaglandins, which further increase the contractions, right? कई बार when there is not sufficient labor, so oxytocin injection is given to induce labor. It also helps in lactation during breastfeeding. It promotes the movement of milk into the breast, allowing it to be excreted by the nipple. Ejaculation, oxytocin is also in men, playing a role in sperm movement and production of testosterone by the testes, right? And you can read about this. Love hormone or cuddle chemical भी कहते हैं इसको. How is oxytocin controlled? It is controlled by a positive feedback mechanism, where release of the hormone causes an action that stimulates more of its own release. Labor pain शुरू हुआ तो और oxytocin body will continuously make, like contraction of uterus starts, so more and more it will make. Similarly, if the baby is suckling the nipple for milk, more and more will be formed, right? excuse me. Now, what happens if I have too much oxytocin? ये तो अभी इतना पता नहीं है. Let us see what will happen. And you can read about it. Hyperplasia is a condition which affects the prostate in more than half of the men, right? Now, if I have too little, if in a nursing mother there is lack of oxytocin, what will happen? Milk will not come and will prevent breastfeeding, which is very important. Now, this ACTH, it is made in the corticotroph cells of the anterior pituitary gland, and where it is released in burst into the bloodstream and transported around the body. Right? You can read about it and how it is controlled. You can see. You've all done this. You read it. Right? Okay, now let us move forward. Read about this Cushing's disease. This is most common caused by increased ACTH. So ACTH is getting increased, right? And insufficiency increased से क्या हुआ? Cushing disease, and low से क्या होगा? ACTH है Addison's disease. So you have to read all about it. I have told you everything. Whatever is needed, I have told you. This is just for your reading. Now let us see about thyroid releasing thyrotropin releasing hormone. It is one of the smallest hormone in the body. Just 3 amino acid blocks से बना है ये, right? Paraventricular nucleus secrete करेगा. Now you have to read it. We have already done it. So क्या करता है? TRH, TSH, that is T3 and T4 synthesis and secretion में help करता है. Now let us see. Okay. You have to read all of this like a book. It's very, very important. Either you take a screenshot or you take a printout. It's very important. Now let us see growth hormone. इसका function तो बहुत ही easy है. To release more of growth hormone, and उससे क्या होगा? Just, you know, the growth of the body, the cell growth and all. And how it is prevented? Somatostatin prevents the release of growth hormone from pituitary gland and growth hormone releasing hormone production by the hypothalamus. So what is controlling? Somatostanin. It is a powerful suppressor. Remember this, powerful suppressor, somatostanin of what? Of growth hormone. So somatostanin, right? It's somatostanin suppressor growth hormone. Make notes like this, right? And let us see, you have to read everything. Growth hormone levels are increased when and lowered when. Write it. Okay, they are increased during the time of puberty also. Mostly during the time of puberty. क्या होगा अगर ग्रोथ हार्मोन बहुत ज्यादा हो जाए अडल्ट्स में? तो एक डिजीज हो जाती है एक्रोमेगली या एक्रोमेजली. उसमें क्या होता है? स्वेलिंग ऑफ द हैंड्स एंड फीट हो जाते हैं. एंड चिल्ड्रन में हो जाए तो क्या हो जाता है? जाइंटेंटिज्म हो जाती है, लॉन्ग बोन्स, चाइल्ड बीइंग abnormally tall. अगर बहुत लेस है तो क्या होगा? रिड्यूस्ड ग्रोथ हार्मोन से क्या होगा? डिक्रीज्ड मसल्स, बोन मास, इंक्रीज्ड बॉडी फैट, टायर्डनेस, राइट? प्रोलैक्टिन का क्या मेन फंक्शन है? टू प्रमोट मिल्क प्रोडक्शन, and it is produced by the front portion of the pituitary gland, anterior pituitary gland. कौन सी cells बनाती हैं? lactotroph cells. सब याद होना चाहिए आपको. इसका regulator कौन है? dopamine, right? Dopamine, which is produced by hypothalamus, and dopamine restrains prolactin production. तो अगर dopamine ज्यादा है तो prolactin कम है, right? Now what happens if the person has too much prolactin? There will be hyperprolactinemia. This is already, और उसमें क्या होगा? There will be unwanted production of milk and disturbance in menstrual cycle. Males में क्या होगा? Hypersecretion से it will cause erectile dysfunction. We already done it. What happens if a person has too little? So in a nursing mother, there will be insufficient milk. Gonadotrophin releasing hormone. And right, we did this, and what is it doing? It is secreting, it is stimulating the production of FSH and LH. And we did what FSH and LH is doing. And what was FSH doing? It was initiating the development of oocytes, remember, and estrogen. And what was luteinizing hormone doing? And in the luteinizing hormone, it was doing ovulation in females, and in males क्या कर रहा था ये? टेस्टोस्टेरोन फॉर्म कर रहा था, और फीमेल्स में क्या फॉर्म करेगा? एस्ट्रोजन एंड प्रोजेस्टेरोन, right? Remember, you read it. Hormones produced by testes, that is testosterone, and ovaries, that is estrogen and progesterone, right? You see this. And how is, you have to read this. You have to read this. It's very important. Childhood में बहुत कम होता है. Puberty आते आते ये बढ़ जाता है. And what happens in puberty? Generally, puberty triggers the onset of sexual maturation. अगर बहुत कम होगा तो क्या होगा? The person will not go through puberty, and this is a rare genetic syndrome that is known as Kallman's syndrome. And I think, okay, we have one melanocyte stimulating hormone. We have done that. What is done? It plays a key role where? In the pigmentation of the skin, of mostly skin, hair, and eyes. And this is induced by special cells called melanocytes that produce a pigment called melanin. Now you can read it. It's just for your reading and understanding. अगर बहुत कम होगा तो क्या होगा? Obviously, what will happen? Deficiency, lack of skin pigmentation, and subsequent loss of natural production from UV rays of the sun. So you can just see this diagram, and then in this diagram you have to understand and read everything. These are the neurosecretory cells that we were talking about, and then these are what? These are the hormones secreted by the anterior, TSH, ACTH, FSH, and LH, growth hormone, prolactin, endorphins, right? So we have done all. Let us now stop the today's lecture. It was you can see these diagrams, and if you want, you can see these diagrams also. So as I told you that this is the posterior pituitary gland, and what happens in posterior pituitary gland? What happens in posterior pituitary gland? The hormone is made and packaged in cell body. Then these vesicles are transported down. I told you these vesicles are transported, and now these vesicles, by exocytosis, hormones are released. So you can see this, and this is happening in where? This is happening in posterior pituitary. Now let us see what is this. So you can see these paraventricular neurons producing vasopressin and oxytocin. And see, this is hypophyseal tract that I was telling you, bundle of axons. This is what? Hypophyseal tract. This is the posterior pituitary, okay? And this is the anterior pituitary. Now, these are the supraoptic, and these are, you can just see I have drawn everything, and you can see this. They have very nicely shown the anterior pituitary, where this is the capillary bed, and which is forming what? This is forming hypophyseal portal system, or what? Or hypophyseal portal system, right? And these are the hormones that are traveling, and right. So these are the neurosecretory cells. Now you can just see this is the capillary bed forming the portal system. These are the special cells that we were talking about. What were the 5 special cells that we talked about? What are these 5 special cells? Can you name it? These endocrine cells, we said there are 5 cells. There are somatotrophs. I'm not writing, okay, I'll write somatotrophs, other thyrotrophs, gonadotrophs and lactotrophs and corticotrophs, right? So these are the 5 cells that we talked about, the endocrine cells. So now guys, today's lecture is over. It was a big lecture, but a very, very informative lecture. We have done what? We have done the whole of hypothalamus, this structure. We have done the whole of pituitary gland. So these forms a very important part of the endocrine system. We have done both in detail. We have done the hormones. We have done they are secreted by which kind of cells we have seen their stimuli, we have seen their functions, right? And we have done their structures and locations and everything. So this is all for today. So I will see you in the next lecture, and stay home, stay safe, work hard, and whenever you are studying, please concentrate and study. Okay, bye guys, have fun.